The new update is out, everyone. And guess what? It isn't a ladder mode, as much as Ninja Kiwi would like to make it out to be. Instead, it's exactly what I strained and a few other people guessed it would be, simply renamed to this fancy thing called a prestige leaderboard. Prove yourself to be the most skilled battles player in the world on the new prestige leaderboards. Rack up wins to climb the leaderboards, but beware, unlike regular leaderboards, losing medallions will lower your score. You'll need to be the absolute best to reach the top and earn the exclusive prestige badges. So let me tell you everything wrong with this description and why it's a bunch of bullcrap. First of all, let me say that this is not the same type of ladder mode I was screaming about in that previous video. If you're confused on why I've made a 180. The dream mode I was talking about was one which used an elo/matchmaking system similar to Bloons Reborn, or if you want to compare it to other games, then Clash Royale, Hearthstone, you name it. I don't feel like explaining it again, so to sum it up briefly, it rewards skill rather than who wins the most. Not to say people at the top of these new leaderboards don't have skill, what I'm saying is it's nowhere near as good a representation of their skill versus what an elo system ranking would bring. What the new prestige leaderboard does is essentially reward players with the most net wins in a given week, aka wins minus losses, which does not solve the grinding problem at all. Listen, I'll be the first to say this leaderboard is at least better than the old one, which didn't factor losses into the equation at all, but there's two main reasons why it sounds like I'm super pissed. One is the unnecessary pre-update hype built for something not even worth hyping about, and two is the way they worded the description for this update that makes it sound like they have no clue what skill represents in this game. Let me start with number 1. Remember this tweet I showed you 2 videos back, signs of what looks to be like a quote-unquote ladder mode? Well, they certainly made it sound like it was gonna be something super special, so there's no reason for me to believe that it isn't a real rank mode, right? It looked like the stars perfectly aligned. Surely Ninja Kiwi couldn't possibly think that simply adding a leaderboard which subtracts losses would be super exciting and representative of the ladder mode. Well, I guess I was fucking wrong. To be honest, if they hadn't even made these tweets/Facebook posts and just threw out the update without any hype built into it, I would be perfectly fine with it because it's better than the old leaderboard. Although I'm not too fond of the fact that there's now 2 leaderboards, where essentially players at the top of both will be identical, cause generally people at the top of that would be at the very least decent at the game. If I had to guess the reason why they didn't replace the leaderboards, the reason would probably be kids. I guess they don't want them to quit the game when they keep putting up zeros on the leaderboards. But back to the main point. Maybe I should have known better that an elo system will never be implemented in the game, but it's hard to put me solely at fault when you see a giant picture of a ladder which could only mean one thing. Originally that was the only main issue I had with this update, albeit a major one, Ninja Kiwi putting up false hype and misleading us to believe it was something else. But then I read the update patch notes, and it gave me a second reason. This is what was posted on the Steam update page. Prove yourself to be the most skilled battles player in the world on the new prestige leaderboards. Basically exactly what the pop-up in the beginning of the video said, but let me explain again that being at the top of the prestige leaderboards doesn't mean jack shit in terms of being the most skilled player in the world. As an example, a player winning 100 games and losing 50 in the highest arena will be placed higher on the leaderboard than a player winning 50 games and losing 3 in the same arena. Does that sound like a skill-based system to you? Unless you're a Ninja Kiwi employee, then probably not. And then the next part triggered me again, mostly the second part of it. You'll need to be the absolute best to reach the top and earn the exclusive prestige badges. Again, absolute bullshit. The true best players in the game could be grinding their tails off and still lose out to great, but not excellent players who grinded even more than them. See my example from above, except maybe change the 150 record to 70 and 20. Third and lastly, this line. So what are you waiting for? Jump into some battles and start climbing that ladder. Sorry, what ladder were you guys talking about? Was it this one, or this one? Or was it this one? One of these is not like the others. It worries me that Ninja Kiwi could potentially think that this system could be considered to be a ladder. Seriously. Like, do they even know what a ladder mode is? This so-called ladder doesn't even distinguish the opponents you play against, for crying out loud. You win and lose the same amount regardless of how good or bad your opponent is, and that ain't how real ladder modes work. Hence why this is such a flawed system, and is something a lot of us are hoping to change in battles too whenever that comes around. At this point there's zero chance Ninja Kiwi will implement an actual elo system in this game. I think the only course of action they can and will take is to make minor changes to how the prestige leaderboard works, aka making it more than just wins minus losses. So Sam, I really hope it wasn't you who wrote these notes. But if it was, then I hope you understand why me and many others are so up in arms about it. So here's a TLDW to condense what I said over the past few minutes. The new Prestige leaderboard is obviously better than the current one, but it still suffers from the same problem in that it requires a shit ton of grinding to be at the top, and that doesn't make it a real accurate representation of who is the most skilled player at the game. Now, if NK didn't make any tweets or hype posts about it and published the update without saying a word, I would be indifferent about this update. Doesn't hurt the game in any way, but I still wouldn't have an incentive to play a grind-based leaderboard system. The reason why I'm not indifferent, but rather disappointed in the update, is because of said hype posts that made me believe they were using an elo system or something similar to reflect a ladder. Instead, I'm starting to think Ninja Kiwi have no idea what a real ladder mode is because of how they kept using the words skill and ladder in their patch notes. /endrand. Not /end of update though, cause there's still these bug fixes that I haven't gone over yet. Do I really even need to though? I'm pretty sure they introduced even more leaderboard bugs this update than what was actually fixed, lol. So you can just check in game if you wanna see those patch notes in depth. And there, /end update. Well folks, how about a poll now? Same as usual, 5 options that range from I hate the update to I love the update. Vote away. Well, here's to hoping 4.3 will be somewhat better. I hear they plan on doing some more balance changes, so I'll be sure to give them my input on what and what doesn't require fixing. I'll leave the rest of these games for you to watch. I don't feel like commentating the rest. That will probably come next video, seeing as there was no real content in this update. Have a not so prestigious day.